Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Commodity Podcast, your weekly podcast for car, motorcycle, and lifestyle enthusiasts alike. I'm your host, Gunter from Commodity Los Santos, the number one destination for automotive tuning and customization. Now you can watch us each week. Enjoy this episode. A few episodes back, I did a shop tour for Commodity Los Santos, and at the time, I think I was watching a lot of content on the BMW E92 M3. And aside from the base model M3, there's also an M3 with a competition package, which I did not know at the time. But what this package gave you was a slightly lower ride height, a revised suspension, and a more sportier M mode. And while doing some research, I also found out that some of these M3 competition models were also painted in the BMW individual colors. Most notably, some of these colors are Frozen Silver, Lime Rock, which is sort of like a fiery orange, and Voodoo Blue. This sparked the idea of what I called the competition spec collection. Since Rockstar gave players the option to sell personal vehicles to other players, my idea was to wholesale meet at Commodity, play a little bit of music, invite a few players as potential buyers, and if somebody wanted to purchase one of these competition spec cars, we'll then head over to LS Car Meet and finalize the purchase. So I purchased 5 Sentinels, right? And I created my own competition package. All I did was upgrade all the performance and put on some Lawrence suspension. Then I picked 5 individual colors that I liked the most. And the colors that I had picked was Frozen Black, Frozen Silver, Lime Rock, Voodoo Blue, and Speed Yellow. And at this meet, obviously it was only PlayStation 4 players because I play on a PlayStation 4, but it only lasted for like 20 minutes. And out of all the vehicles, I only got 3 vehicles sold. I got someone to buy the Lime Rock. I got someone to buy Voodoo Blue and Frozen Black. Probably could have sold more, but I didn't have a mic. I was doing all the texting through keyboard. So communication took some time. Some players end up leaving. I started sending out more invites. Some would come, just didn't even know what was going on. They just looked at the cars and just like left. So I did get to talk to a few people who I don't know if they had keyboard or not, but they were texting back fast enough. So I'm assuming maybe they had a keyboard. But yeah, the good thing is I was able to sell a few of them, which kind of builds some sort of excitement because I don't really do car meets and stuff like that as far as hosting it myself. I love to go to them, but I never like hosted one myself. So, a few weeks ago, I also mentioned selling um, the rest of the cars. Like when I was finished with the meet, I sold basically all 5 Sentinels, and since then I've been working on the next collection. And for this collection, I think I'm gonna go all JDM. Thinking maybe I'll host another meet. So this time I'm a little bit more open to doing it with people, just like random people. But the last time it was just people from the lobby that I was in. So if you're interested, comment below, or you could send me a DM on IG. But I'm looking for maybe like 5 to 10 players max, and just keep in mind that this is for PlayStation 4 players only. So, anyways, real quick before I share some exciting news, I have a Pfister story I would like to touch on real quick. And this one is about my GT3 touring spec Comet S2. And this past July, hold on. Wait a minute. Was it June or July? Yeah, the Comet S2 was released in July of. All right, so the Comet S2 was released in July of 2021, and that year I purchased 2 Comet S2s. The first one I picked up and created the GT3 spec, and that particular spec was basically I modified for a track. So performance, engine upgrade, race transmission, turbo brakes, the whole 9 yards. And later that year, I remember if it was in November, then it was in December, I purchased the second Comet S2. And this one I had delivered to the Autoshop during the winter. It sat there for basically about 2 weeks until the snow was gone in the game. And at the time, I was already driving the Pfister Astron, so it was kind of like no need to rush to build the the GT3 touring build. So at some point, I know it was in January on a random night. I remember smoking one joint, a fat joint. I had 2 glasses of Prosecco's and about 1 hour on the Porsche configurator. And this is the build that I ended up coming up with. And this was my PTS Black Olive GT3 Touring Spec Comet S2 with Cohiba interior. And if you don't know, that's like this orange, like brownish looking interior, which I really, really love. And it's an interior you should actually see in person. It's really, really beautiful. So yeah, it's been like 4 years now, and damn, I feel like I barely showed this car on the channel at all. I just recently did a test drive. That was the reason for the test drive, because I know I was gonna sell it. So I use it a lot. I remember I used it a lot for 2021. I'm sorry, for 2022, right? And I changed the paint color a few times until I came back to this original, like this green color right here. And I'm gonna be honest, I keep mentioning that some of these vehicles are my most expensive, and the reason why is because I tend to change them a lot. So I'll change it from how it looks now to like something else, and then maybe go back. And with the Mansion DLC coming, I thought it was time to sell the Comet S2. So feels bittersweet. Always like having two Comet S2s, and I guess in real life, even if I could afford both, I would rather have just the GT3. My second car would probably be a Macan GTS or maybe the X3M Comp, for the wife and kids. But it would definitely be one of those instead of the GT3 Touring and having the GT3 itself. So lately, I've been looking through my collection of cars. Some vehicles like the Comet S2 or the Ubermacht Cypher, I have two of each, like two of the same vehicles, which I use for different builds. So example, like I have a Cypher that's spec as an M4, and I have another Cypher that's spec as an M2 CS. So I think, it's time to get rid of the duplicates, pick which one that I really like. Either I'm going to stick to the M4 looking spec or the M2 CS and sell the other. I'm not going to say I'm turning into some sort of like minimalist or anything, but I am trimming my collection down to something like 20 to 30 vehicles and moving most of my collection to the Eclipse Boulevard properties. You know what's crazy? 2 days ago, after I started doing this, I watched a video on YouTube of Shmi, and he was speaking about his collection of cars. And for someone who owns so many cars, I just remember him explaining like the headache that come with the ownership. You understand, like things you got to worry about, things breaking, small stuff. And he don't own cheap cars. He owns some expensive shit. So, I know this is GTA and we don't have to deal with, that type of stuff, but still, I think the idea of having 20 cars is like a thing for me at the moment, or maybe 30. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to have like 50, 60. I'm going to cut it down. So in the long run, by selling, one of these cars per day, I can recoup like 100% of the car's sale value. So if the car cost $1 million when I purchased it, I can sell it back and get the million back. In the future, I will be selling some more vehicles. Maybe I'll announce them on the podcast. And if you're interested, let me know and we can link up in game and I'll sell it to you. Oh, I forgot all about this. I have some good news, people. On Monday, we hit our $50 million milestone. That's right, big 5-0. Bruh, the last time I had 50 million was way back in 2019, I think. So that was before I started role playing. So it's been a while. The last episode, I remember we ended at 41 million. And this week, bro, when I tell you this was the most action my vehicle cargo warehouse has seen in years. It's been so long that I didn't even notice when Rockstar removed some of the customization options for the vehicle cargo warehouse sales mission. Like you can't customize the cars anymore for vehicle warehouse cars. You can only change like the plates, paint, and the wheels. When I tell you, I was in there just like stealing cars, bringing it back, selling it immediately. I don't know if the GTA gods was on my side, but every car I was sourcing was the top tier vehicles. And I sold them. And as soon as I sourced them, I sold them. I ain't even gonna lie. I even got a random player to help me out. Like, we sold 4 vehicles back to back. It was crazy. But I did make a lot of money. Right beside the vehicle cargo warehouse, I do have my salvage yard business. and I have been collecting and holding them for a large sale. I have about 4 of them in there. And this week was the week to sell them all. So I sold the Sterling GT, the Schlagen GT, the Casico, I think is how it's pronounced, and the Corsica. I think that's how you pronounce it. On top of all of this, I got lucky with 3 successful bunker sales in a pack lobby. And overall, in total, I collected 1.8 in vehicle sales this week, 1.2 million in salvage yard sales, and another million for complete. Well, that one was free. We all get that one, but that's just for completing the real estate missions. So, what else? What else? Oh, car wash. I made 600,000 from car wash this week. 600K from car wash. Um, nightclub, nightclub. I said about 2 episodes ago was my largest sale. I think I made 1.5 after Tony took his cut. Your boy made 1.7 this time after Tony took his cut. That's the longest I ever made my nightclub like collect goods, just because I know I was about to get double on it. After those sales, I stopped playing for like a day or so, and then when I logged back in, I had about 48 million to the bank. Showered, got dressed, went to the ATM. And after I deposit, that's when I realized that I had hit the 50 million. I wasn't even paying attention the week before, but that's when I realized that I hit the 50 million. So another milestone in the bag. However, been watching a lot of these mansion DLC location and price prediction videos. So I don't even think having 50 million is enough anymore, to be honest. So my next milestone might be 100 million, just to like buy mansions and maybe like retire from GTA 5. So I thought to myself, how much would I really need in terms of like buying everything in the DLC if I want to? I probably won't. I just get like one house and hopefully they got some cars. Matter of fact, that might be my next video. I might try to put out like what kind of cars I want to see for this DLC, because I realized Rockstar been very quiet about that. They ain't even say if they dropping cars or not. And when I tell you we need more cars, we need more cars. So back when Ill-Gotten Games was released, the most expensive thing at that time I think you could buy was the yacht, and I think that cost $8 million. So honestly, if I had to guess the cost of the mansions with all upgrades, I'm gonna say maybe like 12, 15 million. Seems about right? But honestly, I wouldn't really be surprised if we had to spend upwards of like 20 million or more. I was watching a video from a fellow YouTuber, Buck Archers, I think is how he says it. Pronounce his YouTube name, Buck Archers. Hope I'm not butchering it, brother. Out of all the videos I've seen on YouTube, Buck provides the most realistic pricing information about the mansion. I'm talking prices I'm okay with spending. So if you're interested, I'm gonna leave the link for that video in the description, and if you want, you could check it out. But I do think that he's probably the most accurate when it comes down to pricing of what these mansion could be. So, anyways, with all this mansion price and location predictions, over the weekend I made sure that I took out the Rebel GTS out for a drive in the mountains and photograph what's been going on. I can't wait for December 8th, to be honest. Anyways, I'm gonna share with you guys some locations. Basically, these are locations I actually think that's perfect for a mansion. The first stop that I had made was at the Pix Real Estate location. This is a spot that's located in Tungva Hills, which by now we all can confirm like the building materials is placed on the site. Honestly, I feel like Rockstar is like slow leading this teaser out for the mansion DLC, but I fuck with it. It wasn't there before. Now all of a sudden I went there. It's there. I like that. I also checked out a few other locations, and these are not locations that I saw from any video or anything. These are locations that were homes to like some of the guys I used to play with when we would role play. And aside from the Pricks Real Estate location, I hope to see one of the following mansions I'm going to show you guys available for purchase, or at least Rockstar takes some design cues from one of these properties. The first 3 mansion that I'm going to show you guys that were a part of like our little role-playing crew are all located in the Lake Vinewood estates. And just for a fun fact, Lake Vinewood is a reference to Lake Hollywood estate, which celebrities like Tobey Maguire, Justin Timberlake, and Quentin Tarantino call home. And I don't know if you guys ever looked this up on a map, but in real life, this area is beautiful, like beautiful. But in total, there are 4 homes in Vinewood Estate. And the first mansion that we're gonna look at as our like first option of like either what I want them to make available or just to take some design cues from is located just to the right as soon as you reach the cul-de-sac. The reason why I like this house so much is the overall design. The front of the property is very subtle but modern, with privacy in mind. The property has high walls and a gated front entrance. The driveway is paved in black, and the faded area in the pavement also adds to the overall design. Not to mention tons of greenery on both sides of the driveway. At the rear of the property is a jacuzzi and a pool that's deep enough to dive into. Now, from my knowledge, this is probably the only property that I know that has a pool that you can dive into with a diving board. The final feature of this property is the access to Lake Vinewood Reservoir, which is only a few feet away from the property. The next property is located just behind Lake Vinewood Estate welcome sign, just to the right as you enter Lake Vinewood Estate. This property has a short paved driveway leading up to the entryway. The property is also similar to Franklin House located in Vinewood Hills. The house is more of a modern architecture with 2 floors, a garage and an infinity pool, and a jacuzzi. And to be honest, I would love the interior design of Franklin House from the story mode. So if we get the same design, I'll be hyped. The next property is the largest property out of these 4 homes, and the first home to the left as you enter Lake Vinewood Estate. The property features a massive driveway paved in a combination of cobblestone and limestone, which goes all the way to the rear of the house. The property also has lush greenery, a massive palm tree, and a swimming pool in the backyard. And out of all 4 properties in Lake Vinewood Drive, this location offers a tennis court with a panoramic view of Tongva Hill and the Vinewood sign. After photographing Lake Vinewood Estate, we made our way down to Richmond, to the location that I used to use personally as my roleplay home. Located just off of Tunga Drive is this modern single-family home with an average-sized paved driveway. The front of the property is also subtle but beautiful, and it only used what seems to be large stone slabs and cedar wood and as fencing material. The property has a garage, a jacuzzi, and a pool, and a pond that stretches around the house. One of the most interesting design features of this property is that the front door is actually located at the side of the property. However, NPCs always spawn at the door by the driveway, which could possibly be the main front door. Either way, I love this property. I love it when I was role playing, and I would love to purchase this property, maybe with a different pool though. It was getting too dark at this point to photograph any other properties. So the next morning, I made my way to Banham Canyon to see the last location. This property, as you know, is part of the Pricks Real Estate mission. Not gonna hold you, I'm a sucker for a modern mid-century single-family home. Like in real life, if I owned a successful company based in LA, I would purchase a mid-century home that needs renovating and redesign the home with an architect who can provide a sense of modernity while still keeping the original structure and layout of the house as it was built. The property features a long driveway leading up to the front entrance of the property. The rear of the property seems to be unfinished, with enough room to add an infinity pool with the perfect view overlooking Tunga Hills. After photographing my last location, I then went home, edited the photos, and overall, if given the option to buy 1 or 2 of these main locations, I would definitely pick the first mansion we checked out in Lake Vinewood Estate. I think overall, I like that home design better than the other 4 properties in the area. Plus, that property has a pool with a diving board and access to Lake Vinewood Reservoir. The other property I think I would pick is the mid-century style home in Banham Canyon. I'll be in the hills around some of the curviest roads in Los Santos. So for a car guy like myself and a lover of mid-century design, this would probably be the house I pick for sure. As a matter of fact, I would trade Clips Boulevard apartment and my home in Vinewood Hills for this property located in Banham Canyon. That's how much I would love to have this property. As usual, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. If you're currently playing on PS4 and would love to join upcoming events, please comment below. Let me know. By next year, I do plan on moving on to PS5 before GTA 6. So if you're on PlayStation 4 now, let's link up before I make the switch to another console. As always, you can get in touch with me at Instagram at Gunter Browne, or you can email me at inquired.gb@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening this week. Please join us next time for another episode of the Commodity Podcast.